Excuse me.
What's up?
Can you show me something cool?
Something cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got just the thing. So, unless you were there in the late 90s, early 2000s yourself, you've probably not seen this in this condition. It's one of my all-time favorite games and something I grew up with as a kid. And of course, I didn't have this battle set because it actually had the N64 and everything complete in it. But I did have the one that came with the expansion pack, you know, the game itself, because it's the only way to play your original Game Boy cartridges, whether it's red, blue, or yellow, or in gold, silver, crystal, when Pokemon Stadium 2 came out, and use the Pokemon that you have in the cartridges in the Stadium game itself. So we're gonna open this up and then take a look at what we got.
What are your favorite memories of playing Pokemon Stadium?
As a kid, I think like basically every kid in the 90s, being a huge like Pokemon head, that's all I would do, talk about like while eating, while sleeping, while at school. Of course, like Pokemon got to the point where like kids got banned from bringing like the cards and the games at school, so I was one of those guys. And that extended to Stadium because you were the coolest kid at like in any neighborhood or at school if you had this game and you had people who come over and then battle with their cartridges. All right, now, what's crazy about this is this trade-in came in just the other day. And again, like I said, it's basically a complete battle set for Stadium, which again, you're not gonna see unless you bought this in the late 90s, early 2000s. So you're not gonna find this complete anymore, even though you'll find some of the pieces. And as you can see, again, complete context of the N64, the expansion pack, the little Pokemon Trainer's Journal, the Atomic Purple controller, and the cartridge. And then again, at the time, these were cutting edge graphics. So you like look at it, look like a little corny, right? But again, this is the first time that you're ever able to see your Pokemon in 3D. You know, besides Pokemon Snap, if anyone's played it. They actually use the same models in Pokemon Stadium that they did in Snap, but they didn't matter to anybody when you're first playing it through it the first time.
So I'll give you a quiz real quick. Do you actually know which version of Pokemon Stadium this is?
The original version of Pokemon Stadium.
To give you a little backstory, this is actually Pokemon Stadium 2. It's on.
Right. Which is actually really cool because this is a version of Pokemon that most people have never played tournament format since it started like, you know, late 90s when Red and Blue, I guess I should say Red and Green in Japan came out. People wouldn't host, or I guess they would host link battles in Japan, like at like parks, game stores, any like special meetup places. And I guess in English formats, we wouldn't have this until like organized events at Toys R Us until basically Pokemon Stadium 2. So let's take a look at these. Yeah, check out all this. So it's the original instruction booklet. And then a little Become a Pokemon Master, Blockbuster coupon. And then this is also when Blockbuster still had those free like poster machines. You could take your prints from Pokemon Stadium or Pokemon Snap and take those to the stalls and then use that data to make little printouts of all of the pictures that you took in the gallery mode. And then a little official player's guide. Let's see if I can open that up. Yeah, hyping you up, get you a little Pokemon Stadium, like, you know, player's guide to help you through the game. And again, being an early Pokemon game, it was really brutal, especially if you're trying to climb the trainer's tower. For our viewers or anyone out there, I'm not sure actually how many of you actually played through the campaign of Pokemon Stadium, but here's the original poster that this thing came with. Featured the original 151 Pokemon because of course Mew was an unlockable thing after completing the main campaign of the game. Not once, but twice. There's a day mode and a night mode. And night mode actually basically unlocked the harder difficulty where you essentially, instead of using a rental team, which you could use to beat the day mode, you're gonna have to use an import team from a cartridge like red, blue, yellow in order to actually get through that game because the teams were brutal. The AI used more input reading, where instead of like, you know, a fighting game that's gonna predict your next movements, it's basically knew the best moves to use against the Pokemon that you had set out. So you're gonna need Pokemon with higher base stat totals, Pokemon better movesets, and that's not gonna be available through a rental team. And lastly, we got the Trainer's Journal. Just like a little walkthrough of the basics for Pokemon Stadium. Again, if you're a longtime fan of the series or just grew up on the original games, all of these tactics or ideas are gonna be pretty familiar to you, right? Using status conditions, how important your leads are, your weaknesses, even like attacks that will take out both players' Pokemon, like Self-Destruct and Explosion. Because sometimes you're not going to be at an advantage against the Pokemon the computer's sending out against you, but you can use elite Pokemon or even an anchor Pokemon to take something out, because if you or your opponent ends the game with Explosion or Self-Destruct, the player who used the move is the one that loses the round. But you can use that anytime before that to take out their most powerful Pokemon so that you can close it out with your own anchor. And then these are also going to be some of the most powerful, or like Pokemon that fill niche positions throughout the game to get you the advantage in like head-to-head battles. Of course, Mewtwo, one of the most powerful Pokemon in the original 151, only unlockable after beating the Stadium mode at night. All right. But then, aside from all those goodies on the inside, you have the Atomic Purple controller, which, again, the only way to get this controller was to either get this bundle or buy it separately. So again, outside of the specialized like colors for the N64, like the watermelon green, the watermelon red, or the jungle green, like this is the only way you're gonna get a controller like this. And I want to say this is basically like a sister bundle to, what is it? Hey You Pikachu? I'm not sure you heard of that game. It gives me a little bit of trauma thinking about it.
So we can't play mini games.
I know. Again, that's also one of the best parts about Pokemon Stadium, aside from just importing the Pokemon that you have from the cartridges. It's a Oaks Lab, and number 2 will become Trainer's Academy, but you could view the Pokemon Gallery, access the Pokedex, and just learn more about the types and movesets of Pokemon. But there's also like a mini games area where you could take you and your friends if you're tired of battling, or if you just didn't feel like it the day, access, I think it's 12 mini games exactly. So you have like Rat-a-tat races, like a Lickitung sushi game. There's a Pikachu, I guess Pikachu and Electro, like an electric power plant production game. A Clefairy Says, Metapod, hardening game. That's actually one of the funniest ones. And I put it out there to anyone watching the video. If you can beat me in any of those mini games, I will admit that you are the master of Pokemon Stadium, because I've probably since, I guess what year? I guess since 1999, haven't lost any of those except for the Clefairy memory game. I'm terrible at it. So you got that one free. But if you can beat me in any other ones, you got it.
If you want to go right now, we can go right now.
Right. If you set up an N64, I will dog you in any game.
Go right now.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Not this one. Not this one. What would you say is the hardest mini game in Pokemon Stadium 1 or 2?
In 1, for me personally, the drowsy hypnosis sucks.
Again, if you are interested in picking up a copy of Pokemon Stadium or the Pokemon Stadium Battle Set, you can talk to me, Michael, at Gamers Alley. And this will be here for you. And if you want to lay down the gauntlet and challenge me in any mini games, feel free. Just don't be mad if you lose.